Laugh it out loud.
Okay, you put it there on top. I'm sorry. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. This is my wife.
Just so everybody's aware, we are currently having technical difficulties when it comes to the Zoom, and we're unable to broadcast at the moment, but as soon as that resumes, it'll be put out there for everyone to join.
Bring this meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor G.W. Scott Sr. Trustees Matt Drosky. Dan Carey.
Here.
Ron Samflicker.
Here.
Kent Lubers.
Here.
John Buckley.
Here.
Wally Abernathy. Attorney Doug Stewart.
Here.
Chief Coppotelli.
Here.
Ryan Rader.
Here.
Clerk Cindy Miller, President.
approval of regular minutes, committee meeting minutes for December 6, 2023.
Make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes and committee meeting minutes from December 6, 2023.
Second.
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Yes. Citizen input?
I have a couple of questions concerning our zoning administrator. And I took the time to look up his duties. And I noticed it's 2.5 pages of what he's supposed to be doing. And I noticed down here, and you can all see it's underlined, he's supposed to give you a monthly report, written report. Each, it says here, prepare, submit monthly report to the municipal elected officials and the municipal planning commission. My question is, are you getting a monthly report from Phil Little? And this apparently was drawn up by an attorney previously. This is what he was hired on, and these are his duties to do. So we're not getting a report from him. We listen to the chief, he gives a good report, Brian gives a good report, they answer all the questions, and it's very good, very educational, but I understand why we don't get a report from the zoning administrator. Okay, I want one more item on here I want to ask you about. Are we going to get one in the future? I mean, the clerk, maybe somebody could read it off to us or something, let us know we got a whole building going on. This is the one I questioned. It said right here, says, possessing of a valid Pennsylvania driver's license. Now, who ever heard of an Illinois resident have to have works for the city, to have a Pennsylvania driver's license? I mean, does he have a driver's license? I mean, does he have a valid Illinois driver's license? He drives our equipment, so if he's driving with a Pennsylvania driver's license, he's illegal. Shouldn't drive it.
I mean, we can take it under advisement, Mr. Black. We don't have answers for you, obviously, in this moment.
Well,
We should have a log of all of our employees' driver's licenses that are driving any equipment or vehicles, so that'd be something we could get with HR and check and make sure he has a valid driver's license.
here's an employee that he's not on call. There's never no emergency on the zoning. I can understand why we pay all the expenses for Brian and the chief. They get called out all hours. But yet this guy, he drives 30, 40 miles. We give him a truck, all benefits, a badge, just about anything he wants, he gets. And nobody knows nothing about him.
It's noted.
Pardon?
I said it's noted.
You know, years ago, we had two zoning administrators during my time. One in Paul McNamara, and the other one was Mike Mitchell. And they worked part-time, 2 days, 3 days a week. And I would go in their office, a lot of times they wouldn't have nothing to do. We paid them full benefits, vacation, everything. That's all I have to say.
Any other citizens input?
Hello, I'm Carrie Davis-Terry. I think many of you probably know me. I recognize a lot of the faces in here. With me tonight is my daughter, Danielle Carey. I have to say I'm not happy. This is the way I had to come address the board, but unfortunately for citizen input, this is the only way that I get to address the board as a whole. So, a slight recap, everybody in here was aware of the very prestigious journey that Danny had over the summer. Earned some very amazing awards, the highest award a youth can earn in the United States, as well as a gold medal delivered from the White House. It was discussed amongst the board at the July 19th meeting that they were planning on doing some acknowledgement of her being a congressional gold medalist. Well, she did travel to Washington, D.C. to receive that award. Okay, so fast forward a couple months, I don't hear of anything. I figure the village is busy, we have a lot going on, that's understandable, okay? I asked someone here who works close with the board if anything was developing, and honestly, he said, no, there's been no more discussion about it. No one's really setting the wheels in motion. Again, I try to be understanding and think, well, you guys have a lot of irons in your fire right now. Until a few weeks ago, I get a phone call, and I will gladly provide Mayor Scott and whichever village officials want this information, contact information, I will gladly provide it. I received a phone call from State Representative Katie Stewart's office who informs me that they have been diligently working to try to recognize this young lady in her hometown, along with some other entities. We have Congresswoman Nikki Bazinski wanted to be involved, Council Unit 10 wanted to be involved, and the Public Library District wanted to be involved, because all of them have done their research as to what it took to earn these awards, how absolutely prestigious they were, and they all felt that it deserved to be recognized. Not only at state levels, and Congress levels, but in this child's hometown. Most of the gold medalists that were in Washington, D.C. with us, all were recognized in their hometown in some way, shape, or form. Now, originally it was mentioned having a sign erected for her. Never was that expected. We would not expect a sign to be erected for her. Did we go home and tell her that it had been brought up? Yes, we did. A certificate, maybe? No. Some kind of mentioning? No. A phone call I got from State Representative Katie Stewart's office also told me that this was a quite different journey than what they had traveled before when trying to acknowledge and recognize anything good in a community, anything positive in a community. Now, we all know we have enough negative, we all hear enough negative in our community. So here you have officials higher up than what sits before me who all want to do this and reached out to the village of Caseyville. They talked to the mayor or someone speaking as the mayor on behalf of the entire village board, on behalf of all of you, stating that the village was not interested and was not going to pursue anything for this young lady. Are you ready for this? Because it's all just political. I was shocked. I was appalled. They're appalled, and every group working with them is actually disgusted because they said they have never gotten a response, ever, of that nature from local officials. So it moved on to the next step. They wanted to try to figure out how to recognize her within these walls of her community, and they themselves would do something. The village would not budge. Maybe not the village. The individual speaking on behalf of you guys, who they said they believed it to have been the mayor at that time, would not even give them the blessing to come inside these doors to present her in this council room. Again, I have the names of the individuals you can speak to. I couldn't even make this up. As an upset parent, I couldn't even make a story like this up if I wanted to. So at that point, they decided they were going to have no more contact with the village of Caseyville about this, and they were going to set the wheels in motion to do it themselves. Now, they would have had no reason to lie about this because these people were still doing the work and taking the time out of their very busy schedules to try to recognize something that they felt deserved recognition. Again, they understood the magnitude of what she had accomplished at 16 years old. I thought I'll give it a couple days. I'm going to think about this. I'm going to try to figure out what possibly could have been taken as political. So I pull out her Presidential Volunteer Gold Service Award, straight from the White House. I look at what she had to do to achieve this. Over 100 hours and 12 months of community service and serving those around her.
And just to remind you, there's a 3-minute limit.
I know. So then that leads me on to the Congressional Gold Medal from Washington, D.C. This young lady, over 900 hours she had invested in this. Nothing was political. So I'll wrap it up by saying, obviously, she was discriminated against because of her name, her last name. It's turned into something that it should not have been. And if you are not going to do better for the adults in this community, then surely try to do better for the youth of the community because they are our future. Thank you.
Any other citizens input?
Good evening. My name is Deb Doty. I'm a very concerned citizen tonight, and we're going to have a reading, and it's not from the Bible. I have in front of me a very disturbing post from whoever this person is, and it is addressed to Matt Bedrowski, Dan Carey, Kent Loopers, Billy Hayes, Rebecca Kay. He says, I am nobody's toy soldier. You got it? Especially you cowards in the office. I will be disclosing that Matt Bedrowski was a source behind a story that has no merit. That's my words. No merit. We've been proven that. And he has implicated Dan Carey and Kent Loopers as being involved as well. I'm also disclosing that Rebecca Kay and Nick Beelan were also sharing this information. All the information that Nick Beelan gave me was BS. Only that's not what he said. The other stuff I got was half-assed, and I had to research my own to find that there was nothing there. Now, he also states he's not going to be left out hanging by you three gentlemen. And he has already discussed this with 3 attorneys and agreed there was no reason for me to have to share this burden by myself. This person is either somebody that you befriended or hired, I don't know what you did or what, but shame on you. Now, after reading his post, I'm sure you know everything about these stories. He says you're his friend, his business partner. He also sits there and states that 3 of you have been feeding him information about an employee that has no merit. Grinning. He also states that he's got all kinds of emails and text messages from all of you, all 3 of you. Is that correct? Allegedly, you used this man to cover up yourself. Is that true or is that false? You hired him to do a job.
Do you know this man's history? Everything he's done in the past?
I don't know nothing
Do you
about this
believe when you read
man,
Empire?
except that everything he states. Now, when you got a problem at work, do you go to so-and-so that lives in Belleville and says, I got a problem at my job in St. Louis, I need you to investigate this?
If I needed somebody to investigate something, it would have been the best.
You don't, chain of command, chain of command. He is a boss. He's a boss.
All of us are bosses.
No, he is the boss. He's the boss.
The mayor.
When you can't get an answer from him, you go to him. When you can't get an answer from him, you go to the
We
state
are a
police.
trustee-driven legislation.
My minute's adding on every time you talk to me.
So you can't.
Now, the next one. Did you approve the post where he called everybody in this village idiots? Your family, your friends, everybody. We're all idiots. We're all morons. Now let's get to the worst of the worst. Now we're all Hamas. We're Hamas now. What's the definition of Hamas? Terrorists?
You know more than I do.
Yeah, I do.
I don't,
A militant group of people that terrorizes and uses their terrorization as their weapon of choice. So our family here that we have, all our people here, we're murderers now? We rape and murder people? This is who you hired to do this stuff?
Ms. Doty.
Am I done? I am done.
ma'am, my phone number.
I don't want your phone number.
Feel free to reach out anytime you have a question.
You've already proved yourself.
Any other citizens input? If not, Dean? Wally? Ryan, Tony?
Motion to approve or deny resolution 23-86, a resolution authorizing issuance of a business license to on-time contract PLLC 8800 Maple Avenue, Caseyville, Illinois, contingent upon passing a background check and inspection. Make a motion that we approve that.
Second.
Yes. Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Wally?
Yes. Motion to approve or deny resolution 23-87, the resolution authorizing issuance of a business license, Red Lion Inn and Suites, 8950 Tucker Drive, Suite 222, Caseyville, Illinois. It's a name change from Fairbridge Inn Express, contingent upon passing background check and inspection. Make a motion, we approve that.
Second.
Dan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Wally?
Yes.
Special events, Dan, you got, gonna do the lights?
Motion to approve or deny resolution 23-88, a resolution to approve Caseyville fireworks display agreement. I make a motion to approve that.
Correct.
Second. Yes. Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Wally?
Yes.
Kenny, we got nothing. Ron, Bill,
Okay, general fund, $97,042.21. Fire protection, $724.67. Community building, $1,979.50. Motor fuels, $7,769.97. Parks, $273.95. I-64 Business District, $13,307.97. Water, $26,446.80. Main Street Business District, $1,300. DEA seizures and forfeitures, $2,887.32. State forfeiture, $477.70. Hotel and motel tax, $3,352.85. Tip 2, $40,540.89. Tip 4, $810, for a grand total of $196,913.23. I'd like to make a motion to draw from proper accounts and pay our bills.
Second.
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Paul.
Yes.
Okay. Chief,
Yes, sir. Last meeting, I reported to you, we had a bank robbery here in town. I'm happy to report it. I reported to you that night, the guy's in custody. This week, the Southern District of Illinois Federal Court indicted him, charged him with several charges related to that bank robbery. He's also facing at least 3, maybe 4 charges on the Missouri side of the river too. Right now he's charged state there, but he will be charged federally there. So it'll be a long time before he ventures back into that type of business. I think he's going to be kind of busy. So he's in custody. Gave a full confession, so everything's good on that. Also, I wanted to point out the obvious. Great news, police department and the city hall addition is moving right along. You see, they really moved a lot in the last week and a half. So very happy about that. I think it's a very good day for the village. Something that they'll benefit from several years to come. I know I just heard today that the city of Shiloh, our village of Shiloh, received the identical grant that we did for police department also. They're taking money, and they're taking the extra money out of their, I guess they got some kind of water fund or something, I don't understand what they got, but to pay for it, so we're very excited about that also. Saying that, I just want to point out, I really hate to always have to point out the obvious, but another brave and courageous person on Facebook who signs their name anonymous wants to point out that we are merging with Washington Park and State Park for our new building. And there's an alleged Senate bill. Okay, I just feel the need to say this, and I want to get this out. There's no such Senate bill. I did confirm that today because I was like, and they're like, what are we talking about? There's no such Senate bill. There's never been any talk of us merging with Washington Park. And State Park is not even an incorporated town. So there's no merger happening. The police department that we're currently building is for the Caseyville Police Department and the Caseyville Village buildings. Nobody else. So that purveyor of bad news or purveyor of fake news, who is too cowardly to sign their name, I'd like to get that out again. That's not true. So another little bit that we have to dispel on a regular basis.
So no Caseyville Heights?
What? What'd you say?
No Caseyville
No
Heights?
Caseyville Heights, no. I wouldn't even know what we'd call it, all the names. Crazy. Yeah, Caseyville Park, I guess, I don't know. But, so, I just wanted to throw that out there again. Hopefully somebody will put that on Facebook with the truth. But, why let the truth get away with this story? Okay. Okay, that's all I got. Merry Christmas, happy holidays.
Same to you. Brian?
Street Department, we've been doing maintenance work on some of our equipment. We've been doing snowplow training and salt spreading and going over snow routes. I talked with Keller Farms yesterday. We're going to be in some of their fields doing the ditching over the winter time. He does have them planned, but he said as long as we're careful, we can get in there and get the ditching done before the spring rain. So we'll be out in Keller's fields doing the ditching, and back behind like a Cordy and the countryside in those areas. Water and Sewer Department, doing water services. We've been doing some fire hydrant repairs. You see the new police department started, so, and then talking with Schaefer on a daily basis and our architects. They do have a little issue out on 157 right now where they need to get that road cleaned, so we'll be discussing that again with them tomorrow to try to get that dust down and get that road cleaned for us. Also a reminder, Illinois American did raise the rates last year on us for water rates. We only passed on about half of that cost last year. At that time, the discussion was for the Caseyville to take absorbs half of that cost. So this year, we passed the other half to this coming up year. So we'll see that on the water bills in January. The additional, that's in the village code. There's no board action that needs to be taken. It's required by the village code. Okay. If you have any more questions on that, you get with Tamara or I, and we can discuss that. Everybody have a good holiday.
Same to you.
Same holiday.
Same to you. Joe?
So I want to address the transmission story. This thing has been festering for 3-4 months at this point. We don't really have I have a pretty good idea of how this started, when it started, those kind of things. But I want to tell you how it started for me. So in the tail end of September, I went to the IML conference in Chicago and represented Caseyville in a series of classes and discussions and really fun economic stuff. And I had this wonderful opportunity to brag about Tyson and the police station and what we're trying to do with the levy and all that kind of fun stuff. While I was there, I get notified that, everyone knows Mr. Van Hoos is pushing the story. So Mr. Van Hoos has contacted someone at the village and says that the mayor's son has had a transmission installed in his vehicle at the village's expense. And I'll admit, I contacted the mayor very early and I said, we have to look into this because it's the right thing to do. And he did nothing to tell me not to do that. I then started reaching out back to people back here at the village and had them immediately start looking at it. And I think my phone call was 9 or 9:30 that morning. And by noon, I already had the full story figured out. It's not that hard to put it together. We had 2 water employees that were out on Hollywood Heights Road several months before the actual transmission repair was built in water truck 4, a 1997 Ford truck. The transmission started struggling getting up the hill pulling equipment, so the 2 employees returned the trailer back to the garage and then took the truck up to be looked at by marshals. Marshals diagnosed that it needs a rebuilt transmission and said we can't get to it yet. So they then brought the truck back to the Public Works garage where it sat until they were ready to begin work. A few weeks later, marshals said bring it back to us, and work began at sometime in June of 2022. It took approximately 4 to 6 weeks to complete the transmission repair, and it was billed, as everyone has seen the invoice, on July 18th of 2022. The invoice was paid. It went through a normal processing here with Tamara. It was picked up by 2 water department employees, one of them being the same one that dropped it off. And then he's still using it to this day as his primary work vehicle. And again, back in September, we figured all this out. We immediately addressed this. Tamara actually responded to Mr. Van Hoos a couple days later and said this is exactly what the situation is. And obviously to date, he still has refused to accept that version of the story. Chief Coppotelli, a couple days later, contacted the Illinois State Police, and just to make sure we're doing the right thing, let's have an outside agency look into this and verify that what we're hearing is correct. And as the report has now been shared, the report was completed a couple days later. I think it's dated October 2nd. And that report was, they went to marshals, they spoke with the employees at marshals who verified that a village work vehicle, a truck, was driven there, a transmission was rebuilt, and it was picked up by village workers, and then the check was written to them by village staff. Marshall's also stated in an interview later that he's never actually worked on GW Junior's truck at all. It's never been at that shop, it's never been worked on. And of course, we let that rest there. Obviously, the story did not rest. It has continued for 90-plus days. Over the course of that 90-plus days, I've been collecting documents, data, Facebook posts, everything I can to tie it all together, which has led to this really great pile of, I'm just going to say crap, Chief, because it's 800 pages of just wonderful items. It has led to a really great timeline of events. It kind of tells us what the real story was. The real story was there was an intentional attempt to create disruption in the village and chaos to make you think that your village is on fire. And I'm here to happily tell you that as we head into Christmas, your village is not on fire. It is doing wonderful. There's a lot of great things happening, and people want to come in and do business with you, and they want to come in and recognize your citizens for the great stuff that they're doing. And that's a huge positive that you should be proud of and you should be bragging about everywhere you go. This disinformation campaign originated out of Trustee Madrowski, as best I can tell. He coordinated with Mr. Van Hoos, with Mr. Hayes, with Mistaken, Mr. Beeland to create this disinformation campaign. When we started to get close to them, they actually approached other government officials and attempted to convince us that it was Clerk Cindy Miller and Debbie Blaylock, who both actually have no interest in talking to Mr. Van Hoos or Mr. Hayes. And we quickly were able to dispel the connection between those two, and we watched it develop from there. Mr. Van Hoos, and the gentleman you can attest to this, has also sent me copies of the correspondence between him and Madrowski verifying this. Mr. Madrowski has also contacted me by phone stating that there was a conversation with him, Billy Hayes, and others, that this was an intentional, this was a plan, and they all met together and they started it. What I've done, and Chief is finishing, he's done a few interviews, and I'm going to let Chief add to this anywhere he wants. I've compiled my information into this report that I'm going to hand to Ms. Miller as the clerk, and there's 30 copies here, and anyone's welcome to get a copy before they need to read my findings. Chief is, per your suggestion, we did go to the state's attorney's office, and we encouraged the state's attorney to look into this for formal criminal charges for filing a false police report, a false federal FBI report, a false report with the Attorney General, and Chief is compiling that information along with the documents that we've collected, and that will be forwarded once he completes his investigation. Once that investigation is complete, and Chief finalizes that, which I'm hoping to have done by the end of the year, I encourage you all to FOIA that document and read all the documents and all the exhibits and see for it for yourself. I'm asking you to read this and trust that what I'm giving you is concrete, accurate information, and then give Chief a week to 10 days to put it all together in a formal police report that will then be delivered to you. And Chief, do you want to add anything?
Well, just where I'm at on the transmission, the best I can tell you, there's not a shred, I mean not a shred of evidence this ever happened. It is a total fable. And I will tell you what I do know. I talked to the city employees, the two city employees, at different times. Both city employees are trusted long-time employees. I don't know how to put it much simpler. The driver of the truck said that it wasn't working. He went to a supervisor who told him to take it to Marshall's transmission. Him and another one took it up there. They brought it back because Marshall couldn't get him in. It sat at the city garage, inoperable for about, I think, 2 months, if I recall right, or 2 weeks. I can't remember on that one. They brought it back up there. It was repaired, brought back. They're still driving it today. I talked to the owner of Marshall's transmission. He said that he worked on that truck. He has done other work on the truck. That truck was brought up there. He named the employee that I interviewed, who was not G.W. Scott Jr. He named the employee I interviewed. He said that's who picked it up. Transmission was shot. We had to wait for parts. They had it for a while. They brought it back. I asked him if he ever worked on Mr. Scott's truck. He said, I know Mr. Scott, I never worked on his truck. The two employees that talked to me, though, this is the odd thing, and maybe somebody knows more about vehicles than me. He said they have Mr. Scott's truck, the dually in question, is a 4-speed on-the-floor transmission, and I have pictures to prove it. The truck was an automatic that got fixed. So I did ask Mr. Marshall, is that a possibility? And he kind of laughed at me because it was what I expected him to do. He said, no, it just did not happen. There's not, the only shred of it, the only mistake that was made here that could have been cleared up by a couple phone calls, and by the way, I was never called on this by anyone until the end, was the VIN on the, the date of manufacture on the truck was after June of 96, I believe, which anybody knows anything about vehicles, and I know very little, but I know that. Anything after June of that year is considered a next model. So when whoever did the paperwork looked at it, they wrote a 97 down, or 96 down, but it was in actuality a 97. To say we don't own the truck is, I don't know how to answer that. I mean, I see it every day. I mean, we own it, we drive it, we use it. So that's where I'm at. I have a few more interviews to conduct, but that's where I'm at on that. I will tell you that after over 35 years of law enforcement experience, this is a non-story when it comes to a theft of a transmission. Not only that, the state police did investigate this, and at the behest of Mr. Van Hoos, I believe they reopened their investigation. Mr. Marshall said that he talked, I'm sorry, now I won't say he, representative of his company talked to state troopers on at least 2 different occasions about this. They're satisfied, they closed their case. So I don't know what, at this point, I don't know what to say is other than, to believe that subject who made this accusation, you would have to believe that I'm sitting here lying to you people right now, that the Illinois State Police is lying to you people right now, that the owner of a transmission ship is lying to you people right now, and several other employees. So either the whole world's lying and one person's telling the truth, or, you can fill in the blanks there.
The only true connection to G.W. Scott Jr. in this entire ordeal is his cell phone number is written on the invoice, and that is what they attest to as the #1 piece of proof that this happened. It is standard procedure that whenever an employee of the village goes and pays for something at whatever organization and they charge it, they list their supervisor and the contact information for the supervisor on that invoice. And that way the supervisor is notified of the charge, approves the charge and those kind of things. And that's the only reason GW Jr.'s phone number was actually written on that invoice. Because it was a water department truck, it was a water department employee. I'm happy to answer any questions. It's a lot to soak in. Immediately I wish Mr. Madrowski was here to, defend himself. In my report, I am going to recommend to the board in January to consider litigation against those that perpetuated the scheme over the last 90 days. And I don't have a number. I'm going to ask Tamara to try to compile how much we've spent investigating this story, defending this story, trying to figure out exactly what happened. And I promise you it's been over $10,000, and I'm guessing it's probably over 20. So I intend to bring a resolution to this board in January once I have better information on that. And that's all I have.
I have a question.
Please. If that's okay with you, Mayor, I'm okay with it.
I'm Steve Corris, all right, from Madison St. Clair Record. There are people in here that know me. I've been in this room before.
Right, and you've been CC'd on many of Mr. Van Hoos's emails. Yeah.
I have. We have not written one word about it.
I appreciate that, yeah.
Right. This will be the first coverage we give. Mm-hmm. In that spirit, first, if the state police could knock this out in 2 days, why did it take you 810 pages?
We figured it out the same day, sir.
And then will the 810 pages be available for you to use in your lawsuit against the mayors of
the document, sir.
And how much has this village paid for that document?
Nothing.
You compiled an 800?
Excuse me, you're trying to come at me for compiling exhibits and I'm just going to end that conversation, okay?
I think my questions were both valid.
They are valid.
All right.
Did I compile those documents? I did,
At no charge.
at no charge.
I've been accused, and I haven't talked to you about it, I did talk to Brian about it, I was just accused, and nobody's interviewed me. I have talked to Brian personally, me and him back there, and that was, I'm talking to Tamara about it, but I've never been interviewed.
Do you have anything you want to add to the
No.
story?
No.
No, nothing?
Motion's in order.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Paul? Ron, got anything?
Yeah. Under that tabled thing we had November, I think it was 15th.
Resolution.
Resolution, I'd like to turn it over to Ken.
We want to put resolution 2383 back on the agenda. A resolution approving to hire a legal counsel to serve as a conflict counsel for the board of trustees. Why? What was on there before? Well, I don't know. Who, I'd like to know who.
Well, you could find it last time. I'd like to know why do you need one now?
We just tabled it.
I know.
We tabled it because we wanted to take it over.
That's when you
So
had to strike it
I'm going to suggest that Mr. Madrowski get his own counsel at this point. I don't think that the three of you can share a single attorney, given where I expect this to go.
I don't think the taxpayers in this town, including myself, should be paying for any of this.
I agree.
And if and when, if it does with the 800 some documents that I've seen, then, okay, then it could be reimbursed, but it's not gonna go that way. And I feel that the taxpayers have paid enough. We've got two attorneys now. We've got a labor attorney for one thing, and we've got you. We don't need a third attorney for this fiasco. Well, I'm just at 500 some dollars an hour with the,
Very, very openly, I cannot represent Mr. Madrowski.
I don't think the village in any aspect, this is beyond what, there were steps that should have been taken here, and they weren't. You don't go to Brad Van Hoos, who doesn't have any type of certification to do investigations other than what this turned out to be. So I don't feel that this was like a Columbo type of thing or whatever. There's no reason anybody in this town should be paying for any more of this. And that's all I have to say.
Tom, I'll stop by tomorrow because I have other information. Of course, Facebook's always right. I'm not going to mention a name, but I'll share it with you.
Okay,
And we'll go from there.
okay. I didn't know you had any information, Ken.
Well, I mean, this is kind of, to me, it's crazy.
I couldn't agree more.
This should have been shut down a year ago.
Too much social media.
Can you explain why it wasn't?
No good.
Anybody? Can they
No.
explain?
See, the whole thing is to put the impropriety out there. That's the main thing of it. That's what you do.
We don't have any records that anyone actually made an allegation prior to September.
I don't know how you're going with that, but I don't.
Yeah, put that on the agenda for next meeting day. Hire that outside counsel.
And I have nothing else after that for the administration and communications.
Okay, any issues done, John, got anything for tonight?
No.
Ron, finance?
I have nothing under finance at this time.
John, ordinance?
Not right now.
Wally, planning?
Yes, I do. I have an application for a business license for Frank's Auto Repair and Sales LLC, 8809 Maple Avenue. Put that on the agenda. That's all.
That's it? John, please?
Chief, did you have the canine dog?
Yeah, I'd like to speak on that. So our current, we have currently, as you all know, we have 2 canines. One of the canines, Sergeant Wiley's dog, Dallas, is nearing end of service. So the dog is being retired out. We're going to have another dog as a replacement. They're same car, same everything. Currently in training. I spoke with Ms. Hammond about this. Some of the money, half of the money is going to come from the K-9 fund. You see where we sold shirts and stuff in the past, the t-shirts and everything in the past. So half the money will come from that, the other half will come from the state forfeiture fund. Nothing out of the general assembly, general fund. I think, is it 6,400 total?
Sounds right.
Yeah, about 6,400 total, and that includes the animal itself as well as the canine. The new canine officer will be Officer Lauren Reed. So I'll put that on the agenda.
Is that it for you?
Say it again, sir.
Is that all you had?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I did want to, Brian, this also is Public Works, I guess, in OI too. I read back through that email that Eric Harris had sent us, Senator. There was, I think, a miscommunication maybe from what I've read again on that guardrail thing. They have it going down West Lincoln, I believe, instead of going down 157. Because it's stated a house address on West Lincoln Avenue, and that's not correct. So somehow that got, but I want to readdress that by those homes that are being built. And in April, if nothing else, with the help of the police department, if there's speeding tickets there, if we could log those specifically, because they're one part of the email states that's a low speed area because it's only 30 miles an hour. But there's hardly very few people do 30 in there. I mean, it is pretty quick through there, but they didn't, maybe also a traffic study, if we can do a counter to see how many cars go by there a day, and also in the spring to get the radar meter back out, that trailer, and set it there so we can clock the speeds. It'll store those, and they'll have an idea of the actual speeds there to present to them to where they'll think it's more feasible to put a guardrail there.
What John's talking about is on the top side of the Eastshore subdivision there, where the hill goes down. John, I think there's a couple things we can look at now, since we are building a new police department here, Dollar General's there. We can maybe even talk to IDOT about lowering that speed limit to 30 all the way past the City Hall and stuff now.
Yeah.
I think it goes up to 45 or so, and that's good.
It goes 30, 40, and then 45 shortly, right by there, right past the Village Hall.
Yeah, and then the car counter, or, for counting the cars, that's already a study thing, so I can get that off the IDOT website.
So I don't think they realize how many cars a day go through town.
Yeah, I thought it was 10.
And even now, it's going to be more with the trucks because there's a lot of trucks. There's 5 or 6 at a time right now, and with the construction between the school and that, there's a lot of heavy equipment, a lot of traffic, a lot of things going up and down that road right now.
Okay.
And those yards are not far from that road if somebody goes off it, even in the ice.
Yeah, the right-of-way stops about 2 or 3 foot down that hill, and then that yard, they want homeowners on the rest of the hill there. But yeah, that is a safety concern.
I mean, it wasn't so much before we didn't have anything there. Now we got about 8 homes right there alone, so. But other than that, that's all I had too.
Can I ask a question?
That'll happen one of these nights too. Somebody will come off, take out a telephone pole and end up in the houses. I can think of over the years about 3 different instances we had that happen. Knocked all the wires down, all that kind of stuff. Now we've got people living there. That's bigger, different story. Okay, Public Works, Wall.
Mayor, Deb had a question.
I got a question. That gentleman that was here last meeting talking to us about the water issues and building a water tower in our area. Are we going to put this back on the agenda, even after Brian just talked about the fact that Illinois is going to raise our rates again next
It
year?
wasn't at the last meeting, but I don't know.
I think the intent, Deb, is to go back to Illinois American and continue negotiations before, while also investigating the potential of the water.
We're gonna throw some figures back at them, and if they don't fly, then that's where we're going.
You don't think that's something that we should, I mean, all the homes that are being built up in Fairview Heights and O'Fallon, and that are all our portion of our community that we supply,
Yeah.
you know?
No, it's important.
I don't have a feeling
It
that
should
they're
have
gonna win
been
this.
done in about 2008 when I had the money.
Exactly. And it was
Brian, is that a water tower or a plant?
a plant, the plant,
We're talking about
a plant.
the whole
Like
thing,
Collins.
the water tower and a plant, but I think our best solution right now is to go back to Illinois American, try to negotiate one more time. And if they won't come to the table like we need them to, then I'll come back to the board and then we'll have a decision to make whether we want to investigate on a new plant and go that route, or pay the prices Illinois American is going to charge us, and then we pass that along.
You know we're gonna get bribed that next month when it goes up again.
I hope not, but I'm optimistic that they will negotiate with us, but if they don't, I will bring that back to the board and we'll discuss it then.
Okay? All you got other questions?
Nothing.
Dan, special events, you
We
got?
got the Christmas light contest. We've got 4 different residents that have signed up for it. I'd like to do the judging on the 22nd, 7 p.m. If I could get a couple of volunteers to help judge. We'll do, I think 3 of us go around and judge and be good, and then we'll announce on the January 3rd meeting.
I'm with you, but I don't know how I feel, but depends on how much version they put me on. Smart milligrams does weird things to you. Okay, Dirk, Ken, brother. Keep you straight.
January 3rd is the meeting for the cemetery.
January 3rd.
I mean, the third Monday, I'm sorry.
Third month, right?
Third Monday of January.
Okay, that's all we got. We wish you all a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We probably won't see you before that. Have a safe one. Thank you for coming.
Right, right, right.